How Not to Die by Michael Greger and Gene Stone. Diets aren't just about getting you swimwear ready for the summer. Eating the right way can profoundly affect your health, and while immortality might not be on the menu, you can certainly prevent or delay the inevitable. Your dinner choices can keep you in good health even as you make it to a ripe old age. With so much contradictory advice coming from every source, from your friends to your social media feed, it's hard to know where to start. But there are some clear, easy-to-follow rules backed up with scientific evidence, and eating more healthily certainly needn't be a joyless, bland experience. Poor diet is the #1 cause of premature death, and it's often ignored by the medical industry. Today, many people live to 100 and beyond, but living longer doesn't mean living healthier. According to a study published in the American Journal of Medicine of 42,000 autopsies of patients aged over 100, a large percentage died from diseases rather than simply old age, despite being assessed as healthy right up until their deaths. How come? The primary culprit is diet. Just take a nutritional update for physicians, published in the Permanente Journal in 2013, which said that the meat, dairy, eggs and processed foods that dominate the typical American diet are bad news. The study found that people who ate diets rich in these food groups were at greater risk of heart disease, diabetes and a number of other chronic ailments. Not just that, but excessive animal fat and processed meat also resulted in high cholesterol and an elevated chance of heart disease. If you don't accept that, just compare the American diet to that of another nation. After adopting US eating habits, Japanese Americans are at as great a risk of suffering a heart attack at 40 as their Japanese counterparts are at 60. So, food is the issue, and the American medical profession is sorely lacking in nutritional knowledge. It's so bad that only 25% of all US medical schools offer even one course in nutrition, marking a 37% decline from just 30 years ago. This is no accident. In 2001, a bill was introduced in California that would require physicians to receive 12 hours of nutritional training over 4 years, but the California Medical Association opposed it. The California Medical Board requires all doctors to receive 12 hours of training in pain management and end-of-life care but has less interest in using nutrition to stop people getting sick. Instead, doctors are being taught to prescribe drugs. As a result, the US market is responsible for 1/3 of the $1 trillion plus spent annually on prescriptions worldwide, and around 70% of Americans take a prescription drug regularly. A plant-based diet can provide better treatment than pharmaceuticals. In 2014, the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition published an article which found that vegetarians of 12 years who began eating meat 1 day per week saw a drop in life expectancy of 3.6 years. So are vegetarians healthier? Well, cultures that eat plant-based diets certainly experience much less disease than we do in modern American society. Just take the China Cornell Oxford project of the 1980s. It studied the eating habits of rural Chinese people and found an inverse correlation between eating a plant-based diet and experiencing heart disease. In Guizhou province, where rates of animal-based food consumption were among the lowest in the country, not one death among men under 65 could be attributed to coronary disease. Not just that, but plant-based diets can even help reverse disease. The body has a tremendous capacity to heal itself given favorable conditions. As a result, within around 15 years of quitting, a smoker can enjoy lungs that are as healthy as if she had never smoked a day in her life. Lifestyle medical pioneers Nathan Pritikin and Dean Ornish put patients with advanced heart disease on plant-based diets similar to those traditionally enjoyed by some populations in Asia and Africa, hoping to slow the progression of their diseases. But the heart disease of their patients didn't just slow down. It reversed. The patients saw marked improvements in their conditions, and their bodies began dissolving the plaque that had built up in their arteries. Nonetheless, doctors find it easier to prescribe drugs than to change a diet, even though medication poses potential threats. Lipitor, a statin drug meant to lower cholesterol, is the best-selling prescription drug of all time. Its potential side effects include liver and muscular damage as well as higher chances of developing diabetes. Despite these dangers, some U.S. health authorities think it should be added to public drinking water like fluoride. Meanwhile, plant-based diets have been shown to be just as effective and come with none of the risks. Fruits, especially berries, help deter cancer and boost the immune system. Everyone has heard the saying, "An apple a day keeps the doctor away." But is that true? Well, if you throw in a handful or two of berries, it just might be. A healthy diet should contain 4 servings of fruit a day, one of which should be berries. Keep in mind that means whole fruit and not fruit juice. Harvard research has found that drinking fruit juice correlates to a higher risk of type 2 diabetes because of its high ratio of sugar to fiber, whereas whole fruit has been correlated to a lower risk of the same condition. Beyond that, eating fruit has been found to improve lung function. Just a single extra serving of fruit per day could result in a 24% decrease in the risk of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or COPD. This is due to fruit's rich antioxidant content, which limits cellular damage and reduces inflammation. And don't worry about the natural sugar in fruits causing weight gain. Only the fructose in added sugars is associated with health problems. The fiber, antioxidants and phytonutrients in fruit itself can combat the adverse effects of fructose. Natural sugar from fruit can even balance insulin spikes caused by foods with a high glycemic index, like white bread. So, fruit is great for you and berries are especially important. They're known for their immune-boosting functions, their cancer-fighting abilities and ability to prevent diseases of the liver as well as the brain. Take a 2014 study of 14 patients with hereditary colon polyps. After just 9 months of eating black raspberries, the polyp load of these patients was halved. Interestingly, this incredible antioxidizing power is believed to come from their pigmentation, and berries are second only to herbs and spices as the most antioxidant-rich foods, with an average of 10 times more antioxidants than other fruits. For comparison, apples contain around 60 units of antioxidants, while a cup of blackberries contains 650. Vegetables are vital to a healthy diet. Do you remember how, when you were a child, your parents wouldn't let you leave the table until you'd finished all your veggies? Well, all those leafy greens may have extended your life, since vegetables are on the front line of preventing life-threatening diseases. In fact, whole vegetables, as opposed to processed ones, have been found to protect cellular telomeres, nucleotide caps, that keep DNA healthy as cells divide and age. Not just that, but vegetables like broccoli and cabbage can aid liver and lung function while cutting the risk of lymphoma and prostate cancer. Over 10 days, a 2010 study fed longtime smokers 25 times more broccoli than is consumed by the average American. When tested after the 10th day, this group's blood contained 41% fewer DNA mutations than that of the smokers who didn't eat broccoli. What about kale, also known as the queen of greens? Kale might even reduce cholesterol levels. There's a 2008 study in which 30 men with high cholesterol drank 3 to 4 shots of kale juice daily for 3 months. The level of bad cholesterol in these subjects was dramatically reduced, while good cholesterol was raised by the equivalent of running 300 miles.